Hello and welcome everyone to another Bocky's Home tutorial. I will show you today how I constructed this bag, how I closed the bottom of this bag, and I will take you along on my struggle on how I added the zipper here, which ended up quite pretty. What I won't be showing you is how these mini strands are made, and I won't be showing you how this handle is made either, because there are separate tutorials for those. Also, if you need a longer tutorial for the zipper stitch here, there's a separate tutorial for that too. I will be taking you along making this zipper down here and making the attachment here, the last round here. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I hope I didn't leave too much out. I did realize halfway that I forgot to show you the layout of the strands and how I folded it around. So there's a short bit of video in between without me talking, which shows you how it's folded. So let's get going. To make this bag, you will need to make 16 strands of 14 minis each. And in my tutorial Woven Crochet Heart, in round 1, I show you how these strands of minis are made. In that pattern, you make a strand of minis of 6 minis, but it's easy to make this strand longer. The strands of minis are connected with the zipper seam. If you are not familiar with the zipper seam, I suggest you watch my other tutorial about the zipper seam, because I won't be explaining that in this tutorial either. What you see here is that I use contrasting colors here, and I use the same color here. It looks like it's planned, but it's not. I just ran out of this yellow, so that's the whole reason that is looking this way. So I crocheted this on a hook size 3mm with fingering weight yarn, rainbow 8/4 cotton. And if you do these amount of minis and strands, your bag will be 25 centimeters wide and about 22 centimeters deep. You can change the number of strands, you can change the number of minis per strand. It will just affect the size of your bag. And what you have when you have connected them all, and you will connect them all sideways such as this, and you will connect them all, and then the first one will be connected to the last one, so it will be all round like this. And then we will start making a bag out of it. So this is what you will need to make first. If you made your strands all in the same color, it's easy. You don't have to choose which side you want to have on the front. But when you did it like I did, you will have to choose what side you like to have at the front. And you can just turn it as long as you, till you have what you like to have. Well, it doesn't really matter much. I'll choose this part. So this will be in the front, and that will be at the back. And now you've folded it double. And what we're going to do now is, at the bottom here, if you fold these pointed parts over, you will notice that they will puzzle in each other. So I'm going to place stitch markers there, and then I'll show you again what I have, and then you will probably, it will be easier to see. And while I'm doing that, I will be moving all these yarn ends to the inside of the bag. So I will be placing stitch markers from the pointed part there to the lower part there, and connecting those parts together. And then I'll show you what I end up with. It's like teeth fitting in each other. So I just wanted to show that a bit more close up. And while I'm doing that, I'm working all these yarn ends inside the bag. So again, there, this lower point will be connected to that point there. Chain 2 spaces. See? I'm connecting the chain 2 space on this side to the chain 2 space on that side. And this is what it's starting to look like. I've attached a stitch marker between all these chain spaces opposite each other on the both sides, and if you just pick it up like this, you will see that it's like teeth fitting in each other. The only thing that is left now are these two outer corners, and I've decided I'm just going to flip them in to the inside, and we'll start crocheting the bottom of the bag closed in a minute, and I'll show you how to start that. I will close the bottom of the bag with the zipper seam exactly the same way as we did here, and this is the pointed part that is going to be folded into the inside, and I'm going to start the zipper seam here, and I'm just going to slip stitch this, the back loop of this little square to the what's this called, the diameter of this little square here, so that that is closed, and then this point will be crocheted or slip stitched, zipper stitched I should say, to that point, and then we'll work this up and down all the way to the other side. So that's the plan. Let's get started. I worked away a few yarn ends so that I won't get mixed up. I also removed a few stitch markers because then I have, it's easier to work with. Otherwise I'll have my yarn in the bag and I won't see what I'm doing. It's clear, I think, that we are going to work with a zigzag zipper stitch, and that this little point here is going to be folded to the inside, and we are connecting this little square here diagonally over this little square here. So this one will be on the inside, half of it, and we will zipper stitch over here just to connect it. It's not really important where you insert your hook behind here. So in this chain space, twice, in there twice, in there twice, whatever. And to start the zipper stitch, I'm going to start in the loop of this zipper stitch here, so that the connection is made. I'm going to insert the hook in the back loop of this chain stitch on the front mini granny, the mini granny that's going to be in the front, and I'm going to just go in that chain space there, and I'm going to pull up a loop and then connect this front mini granny diagonally over that granny that is going to be flipped to the inside. So that was the first stitch. The working yarn is at the back. I'm going to pick up, we're not going to pick up, we're going to insert the hook in the back loop of this double crochet here. I'm going to go down that chain 2 space again and pull it through. The next double crochet I'm going to insert in that space there and pull it through, and then there's another double crochet. I will connect it on that side there, and then there's one more chain stitch on this side of this mini granny that needs to be connected here, and I will connect it to the zipper stitch that was made here in the same color as these squares. It would have been easier to see if I had it in yellow as well, but I'm going to go right through the middle of that zipper stitch. So that is the first connection made. This little square is flipped to the inside. You have this little flap in here now, and that's all that's going to be on the inside. All the other squares are going to be connected completely along the sides, And the next connection is going to be made in this excuse me, in this chain here and the chain there, in the back loops only. And you're going to zipper stitch up to here, and then I'll show you again what we do here with the zipper stitch on the other side. I have zipper stitched these two minis together. The last zipper stitch was made in the chain on this side, the back loop of the chain on this side and the back loop of the chain on that side. We're going to go around the corner of this granny and connect it to the side of this granny. And before we do that, I'm going to connect this to the zipper stitch here. And I'm just going to go in that loop there and pull up a loop. There's nothing else to connect it to. I'm just going to go like that. So then the line will be continuous, the yellow line. So now you connect the chain stitch on this side to the chain stitch on that side, using back loops only, and just doing a zipper stitch as I've shown you in my other tutorial. And then again, I will show you what we do with this other zipper here, and then you will get the picture. So there we are, zipping along, and I have connected these two together, and I am at that point there. And again, I am just gonna insert the hook in that last zipper stitch on the other side. And if it's difficult to get in there, just use a needle. I worked away the yarn end, so it's a bit tight now. Insert your hook in there to the back. Your working yarn is at the back. Pull up a loop. I'm not in there properly. Pull up a loop. There you go. And it's connected. And now you can continue with these two squares. This chain stitch is going to be connected to that chain stitch, and only in the back loops, and the working yarn is at the back. And this is how we are going to connect the whole bottom of the bag. I do want to remind you that you will encounter these chain twos here, the starting chain two of the mini strand, and that does not count as a stitch. You should only have 3 double crochet here and a chain stitch on either side. So if you are going to use this stitch, that's not okay. You just skip that one because it's not counting as a stitch, and start here and connect to the other side, the double crochet on the other side. You should always be connecting a double crochet to a double crochet and a chain stitch to a chain stitch. If you notice that that is not matching up, then you maybe used the starting chain for a stitch, and you should skip it. So just do that little bit over then. One more point of interest, I think I did say it before, but we are not working in the PLT lines here. So when these two squares have been connected in the back loop of the last chain of this one to the back loop of the last chain of that one, you skip this PLT, you work a zipper stitch right through the middle of this zipper seam here. And I haven't worked this one yarn end away yet, so that is easier. You pull it through, keep that yarn end to the back, and then you continue connecting these two, and that will, the first stitch will be made, the first zipper stitch will be made in the back loop of that chain and the back loop of that chain. So that is what I was going to remind you of. And here we have another chain two that is not counting as a stitch, so skip it and work in the next double crochet, the first double crochet after the chain. And the same goes on that side. And I'll just show you one more thing, because now I see a chain two coming up on the other side. If you connected all your strands in the same direction, you will see all those chain 2 starting chains. You will have them all on the same side, but I didn't do that, so I have them on all coming up everywhere. So here's a chain stitch, and it needs to be connected to the chain stitch there, and not, because I've done 3 double crochet here and 3 double crochet there. This is the starting chain. This is not counting as a stitch. So this chain gets connected to that chain. See? And then it's all okay and neat. And here's the zipper seam in the same color. So not the contrasting yellow, but it's the zipper seam anyway. And I'm going to pull up a loop there again. And I'll work away that yarn end later. Just keep it behind there. So now I've really mentioned everything, I think. Here we are at the end of the zipper seam at the bottom of this bag, and it's a zigzag seam, as you can see. And I noticed last night that if I had shifted this over to there, so then I would have had a different side on the front here, but that doesn't matter. Then these pink lines would have continued there, the yellow would have continued there, blah, blah, blah. And there would not be such a color change at the bottom. So what did I do? I frogged it all last night, and I did that. And then I thought it was boring, so I frogged it again, and it is as I had it originally. Nobody's going to look at the bottom anyway. So I just wanted to share that. Now we're going to finish this last little connection here, where this tile gets flipped to the inside and this tile gets zipper stitched diagonally from there to there over that tile. I'll be keeping this working yarn at the back of my work, and I'm gonna have my hand on the inside there to guide this yarn. It will be behind this little square that's going to be flipped to the inside, and this square is going to be attached diagonally to the one at the back here. And so now we're going to start inserting the hook in the back loop of this chain stitch here. There you go. And like on the other side, it doesn't really matter where you insert the hook in that little square at the back, as long as it's working diagonally. And now I have to try and pick up that yellow working yarn and pull that up. So here I've pulled up the first zipper stitch. The second zipper stitch is going to be made in the back loop of that double crochet there, and through that same chain 2 space there, and my hand is inside the bag holding the yarn that should be picked up, and there it is, and pull it up and out through all those loops. This is a bit awkward, but that's because my hand is on the inside, and that's a bit difficult to show you. So the next zipper stitch, I'm going to make that in the center of that little hole there, and I'm going to pick up the loop again, and hopefully it's the right loop, because I have a lot of yarn tails at the back there. And this is how you finish the zipper stitch at the bottom here, till you reach this point, and then you just pull it up and out, and we'll finish that. I'll show you. I made the last zipper stitch, and it went through the back loop of the chain after those 3 double crochet and in that space over there. I'm just going to pull it up and out, and then we can work this stitch around the beginning of that one neatly with a darning needle, and then that it's the wrong needle. Then that lower zipper seam will be ready, the one at the bottom, and we can start with a handle. So to make this a nice join, just insert the needle behind the 2 loops there and back down there to the back, and you'll see that it's a neat finish. I said I ran out of this yellow. This yellow is a tiny bit different, but it's good enough for the bottom. So it's time to work away some yarn ends, because there are quite a few. And then we'll get started on the handles. This bag will be getting handles that are the same as the handles that I've made on all my other bags. Well, not all of them, but I'm going to make the same handles as I did there. It's going to be the handle with the Tunisian stitch and the piece of rope inside. You can check my other tutorial on how to do that. And I'm going to make the handle pink. And I remember why I chose this layout for the bag, because it's going to start with pink here and end on the other side with pink there. I have finished crocheting the sling for this bag, and I used the Tunisian crochet method that I show you in one of my other videos. This side will get attached to here, and then I will get a piece of cord in there. I will tie the cord to this part here and this little top here, and then I will wrap the sling around the cord and zipper stitch it close in the back loops of these 2 sides. And I closed the handle with the zipper stitch in a contrasting yellow, just for some fun. And I am now at the end of the zipper stitch, and I will continue with the same color yarn, which is almost the same color as I used for these zipper stitches here, these zipper seams. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough. And I will use that to make one last round over the top edge here. So that's up next. I was going to use this color that is not exactly the same as this zipper stitch here, and I didn't like it. So I found a little frog bit of yellow that is the same as this. So I'm just going to fasten off here and then start with this color. And I'm just going to fasten off like this, pull it up through there, and this yarn end can be worked away in the handle with a slip knot on my hook, because I changed color. I cut this wrong yellow and I've got the right yellow on my hook now. I'm going to do a single crochet 3 together in the back loop of the chain here. So I'm going to pick up a loop there, pick up a loop in this last zipper stitch, preferably go through that chain stitch behind there as well, and the chain stitch on that mini. So you have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. That's the first single crochet 3 together. Now we have this yarn end here to remind us that this was the starting chain 2. That does not count as a stitch. After this chain 1 we only have 3 double crochet and not 4. So 1, 2, 3. These three are the double crochets we are going to work into, and this chain 2 here does not count as a stitch. So a single crochet in the back loop of each of the double crochet, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in this chain here, and you have done the side of this little mini square, chain 2, and on to the next side of that mini, in the back loop of the chain, in the back loop of 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, just a simple single crochet, and then we are going to do another single crochet 3 together in the back loop of that chain there in the back loop of in the middle of that zipper stitch, pick up a loop, and in the back loop of this chain here, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you'll have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 4 loops, and you are through the corner down there. One side of the bag is now finished with this last finishing round on top here, and I reached the handle, the attachment of the handle, and this is a bit tricky here. This is the mini that the handle got attached to, and I did the single crochet 3 together in through this corner here, and then I suggest to just do a single crochet in the back loop of any stitches that you can still see, and all these yarn ends will be worked away after this last row is done. And what I also will do is do a single crochet 3 together around here somewhere. Just pick up a loop where you can find it. I'm not sure this is a loop. Yeah, it is. So pick up a loop in that back loop, pick up a loop in the middle of this zipper stitch, and pick up a loop in this loop here, and then you will have 4 loops on your hook, and you can do the yarn over and pull through. Then single crochet in the back loop of the next stitch that you can find, that's this one here, and we are back in business because this is the last chain stitch of this granny. So we're going to do another single crochet 3 together, and we're going to pick up a loop in the back loop of this chain, and in the center of this zipper stitch, pick up a loop there, pick up a loop in the next chain, and there's the next single crochet 3 together. And what I did not say, but what you probably did notice, I skipped all of these seam stitches here. So now we can just do a single crochet in the back loop of these 3 double crochet. This is that chain 2 that does not count as a stitch, so we just skip that. And there we go, one more time. Single crochet in the back loop of the chain here, chain 2, to go around the corner, single crochet in the back loop of that chain, single crochet in the next 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and you're up for another single crochet 3 together. And here's that pull up through seam that we skip. So we're going to do the single crochet 3 together in the back loop of the chain here, pick up a loop there, in the zipper seam stitch here, and if it's possible, insert the hook through that stitch at the back as well, pick up a loop, and in the chain on this next mini granny. And we have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through, and we are through the corner. So this is what it's going to look like around that handle, and that's pretty neat, I think. So this is how we're going to finish this last bit, and we're going to do the same on this side with this handle, work it the same way I just showed you here. Fasten off, and then all these yarn ends can be worked away. I suggest working away the yellow yarn ends in this yellow border that we are making now, and these colored yarn ends in the magic rings that are close by. And then I'll get back to you and we'll see how we go from there. All yarn ends have been worked away except for this one, because I might need it to close this up a bit more, and it's there anyway, so. And otherwise I'll work it away in the handle. And I am preparing my nice pink zipper now before I attach it in the bag, and I only know how to do it in one way. and that is by adding these stitches to the zipper first. And then I will be using the outer loop to crochet it to a stitch in the bag. I have no idea how I could do it otherwise. So it's going to be in there like so. Crochet it to the bag with that yellow color. And I'm going to try and do it as neat as possible so that it doesn't show through on this side. And those stitches that I'm making, I'm just sewing them on. So I'm inserting the hook where the yarn came out and making these stitches here. So insert where the yarn came out and exit somewhere there. I don't really have a math for this. I'm just sewing along. And then hoping all will be well. And you will probably have a better way of adding a zipper. And I should do a tutorial, follow a tutorial for that. But this is how I do it. And this part of the zipper will be in the bag. So down there. This is how it's going to fit, I think. The zipper is now attached with some needles on the inside of the bag. I have those stitches there on the zipper. And so this side will be attached to that side. I'm going to do this side first. And what I'm going to do, and I made sure it was straight, by the way. So top edges, the top points here in a straight line. And this part of the zipper will be in the bag. It's a bit, the zipper is a little bit too long, but that's not too bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stitch these back loops here to any loop that I can find here that won't show through on this side, because I'm going to do it with yellow, with this yellow. So I hope that works out, and once I have it figured out, I'll show you how it's going. Plans changed again, and instead of crocheting in that back loop and the bag, I am sewing in the back loop and the bag, and that is working better for me. So I'm an experimental type of person, and this is just how I figure it out. So I'm inserting the hook in stitches where it won't show in the front, and then under that loop there of the next stitch, and I'm working along this line here, and then it will look like this, and that's good enough for me. So let's grab another one. Just go under these loops here. It's not showing on that side. Under there. And my zipper is coming in there neatly. And I like that yellow contrasting color there. Let's see if it's not showing. It's not showing. And up in the next stitch. And this is how I'm going to attach my zipper. And feel free to copy or use it or whatever. And then when this side is done, I will open the zipper, and then it will be easier to do the other side as well. See you when I'm ready. My flat bag is ready. The zipper is in. I'll show you in a minute. I just want to show you the size of this bag. It's 22 centimeters high, and it's 25 wide. So that's a nice size bag. You could carry an iPad in there. This is a mini iPad. Okay, the zipper. The zipper is in. It's looking like this. I quite like this way of attaching a zipper. I just have to think about how to improve the inside, because the inside is not very pretty, but it will do. I'll have to work these yarn ends away in a different manner. So that's something I can work out next time. So I should start behind here. That's a learning moment. Thank you for joining me on this tutorial, on this mission to insert a zipper in a bag. I hope you show me your bag if you decide to make one too. Let me know what you think of this tutorial, what could be better, what you still would like to know how to do. And for me, it's dinner time, and I'll see you again in the next tutorial.